How to be a better empath. There is so much information on YouTube. Some of it's good information, some of it's information that's being given with good intentions from many YouTubers on what it's like to be a narcissist, why a narcissist would do certain things, just so much information. However, I have been studying on YouTube and listening to videos and getting information. However, what I found to be what I have found to be the most accurate information um, from a narcissist is HG Tutors. So it's HG, H is in Howard, G is in Go, space T as in Tom, Tutor, Tudor. And his channel's called The Ultra. With my YouTube channel, I don't want to duplicate somebody's information. So what I am not going to do is disrespect HG Tutor and copy his information. That's just wrong. So to get more information on narcissism, please go to his channel. Um, I have found it's the most accurate and best information out there. So, what I have found that's missing on YouTube is from an empathic person. I do know that I have some empathic traits. How do you become a better empath? What do you do? Do you imitate a narcissist? Do you become like them? No, you can't become like anybody but yourself. You are who you are, whether you have narcissistic personality disorder or whether you're an empath, whichever your personality trait is. HG Tutor explains that you have people that are narcissistic, um, you have people with narcissist personality disorder, um, and you also have normals, which I think he says those people are going to be low on empathy and low on narcissism. Then you have the empaths, of course. So, how do you become a better empath? Okay, first of all, through not making hasty decisions. One of the things I have found through my being in love, falling in love, is moving too fast, making assumptions, making hasty, bad decisions. So I'm going to give you a perfect example. First of all, COVID is real. I actually was in the ED, the emergency department, not for COVID. I was in there for another health condition. I was having dizzy spells and things like that. So I ended up in the emergency department. So I learned very quickly that COVID is real. It was the first time I ever went to the emergency department where I was not even able to have a room. I ended up in the hallway being treated. So, anyway, I just may God bless anyone that's had COVID, and I hope they recovered. May God bless all the souls that passed on into heaven. So, what I learned from that trip, is I'm in the emergency department. I've already checked in. I'm in the lobby. They, even if you can walk, you're put in the wheelchair, especially if you're going in there for dizzy spells and things like that. They don't want you to faint or, anything like that. So as I'm in the wheelchair, another lady comes in the hospital and she checks in at the front counter, and a gentleman brings her in, and he explains that he found the lady on the sidewalk somewhere. When I say this woman was sick, oh my God, I sat in my wheelchair in the lobby and I just cried like a baby. It was like I felt as if I could feel what the lady was feeling. I just felt so sorry for this soul. Um, I really, it was unbearable. So I just sat there and cried. So at some point, as I'm sitting there crying, I had been there for quite a while, over some time. Well, at that point, I had been there for a while already before this new patient comes in the emergency department. So the nurse comes out and she says to me, by the way, we are behind and we apologize, but we're going to try to get to you as quickly as possible. So the nurse asked me, she said, "Are you okay? I see you're crying." I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Actually, as long as you need to take, I'm fine." I said, I'm not having a heart attack or anything. I'll be just fine. I said, "However, I'm crying because I'm upset about that lady there that just checked in. I mean, it's just upsetting." So the nurse says to me, "You're very empathetic." So at that point, the red light went off in my head. I said, "Well, I, I guess I'm not the narcissist." She just acknowledged, that I was empathetic. So the moral of this story is this: as the nurse walks away, remember, I'm still in this wheelchair. So I look down and I notice the footstool that my foot is on while I'm in the wheelchair. And I look down, and so I looked around the wheelchair. I looked around the wheelchair, my own wheelchair that I was in. And I said, "Oh, I'm in the same situation as that lady. We both in wheelchairs." And so I straightened myself up and kind of got myself together. And I'm like, "You're in the same situation as her. You in a wheelchair. You need to cry about yourself. You need to figure out what's wrong with you." So, you know, once I got home, everything was fine. And I ended up telling my family about it. And they thought it was a little funny that I'm sitting there crying about somebody else coming in sick. And as I'm crying about somebody else being sick, I'm also losing sight. And it took the attention off of myself. So I became more, it was almost like I became more empathetic of someone else. And that person became more important than I did at the time. And, crying and doing all that, that's not going to help my blood pressure, which is the main reason I was there. My blood pressure was high. So, anyway, to make a long story short, right there, the wheelchair situation is the reason why empathic people fail. Because what they do, everything in the empath's life or the person that's showing empathy becomes just like the wheelchair situation. Somebody comes before you, and most likely that somebody that you may be putting before you is not going to have your back and look out for you in the time of a crisis. They may leave you stranded on the side of the road. So if we can learn some of what a narcissist already knows, the narcissist is not going to be concerned about another person in the wheelchair. So as an empathic person, you have to learn to balance that out. You have to learn to make sure when you're crying about somebody else in the wheelchair, you're paying attention to the fact that you're in that same situation. Now, I also want to point this out: that other lady that I was crying over, that obviously was so sick, she was extremely ill, much more than I was at that moment. That lady never noticed me. She never noticed me. She never looked at me The tears that she was shedding, of course, was not over me. Do you get it now? I hope you get it. Empaths, you are always in the wheelchair when you are dealing with toxic and narcissistic people or narcissists. You're going to stay in the wheelchair while you look over at somebody else that's in a wheelchair that never noticed you and never shedded a tear for you because they're so sick themselves. Have a great Sunday and remember this lesson. Bye.